that could cure.
Now, here it is. 10 of the most popular conspiracy theories about the Ebola virus outbreak. And you can get that up while I continue. 10 of the most popular conspiracy theories about the Ebola outbreak virus. While I continue this one. So, despite well-meaning social media users may say the Center for Disease Control do not have a patent on EVD. The CDC acknowledges having applied for a patent for research purposes and having that application rejected. It will be far more useful to find out how and why disease strains are patented than to share stories which have no basis in fact. There is no reason for Western nations to weaponize Ebola and kill Africans. The monetary and foreign policies they already have do that quite well. AFRICOM assures that the United States will control the militaries of almost the entire.
I don't. We can send troops over there. Go ahead.
The endless war of terror have.
It just really bothers me.
Here is one of the myths. Ebola is man-made. The U.S. government owned the patent. The Ebola patent held by the Center for Disease Control, this is what they're saying, and has fueled one of the most popular Ebola virus conspiracy theories. The U.S. government created the disease. So that's a conspiracy theory. That's not true. So at least they're agreeing with this other article that the CDC does not have a patent for Ebola. To get 3 square meters a day.
But people who look like you were stolen from Africa. And that's how.
So that's how we actually came into some type of existence. So what is your take so far on what we have read
About conspiracy theories?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't really entertain that. I can't entertain that. I'm not saying that they're true or false or they're. I mean, people like doing that, but can we? That we don't hear about that often. So anything that's done on an international stage is done for the interests of the United States, and it's not the interests of the government, but it's for probably the people who donate to the government. So if there was some major lobbying done by West African countries, and they were buying off senators and Congress people, Liberia, but not Nigeria. So there's something to that. And you've got probably way more Nigerians coming into the United States than you do Liberians or what are the other groups of people?
Ghana.
No, not the. I mean, where the Ebola virus, the three other countries.
Or Liberia. It was, I don't know. So some part of
it was definitely Liberia
West
and
Africa.
Nigeria, but not all of West Africa. And it's not. You don't hear about Ghana getting this. People from Cote d'Ivoire, or, Senegal.
Maybe that's why, and I'd give the story about the polio vaccine in Trinidad, where they gave us the polio vaccine. It was a bad strain of the polio vaccine, man. They sent like the leftover vaccine that, seriously. And whenever we took the vaccine, it left a big scar on your arm.
Oh, but a lot of back then people had those. I mean, most people in our generation have those.
Maybe that was a conspiracy theory too.
No, I mean, I don't think that could have been. I mean, I don't have polio, but a lot of people in our age group have this, a mark
from the
that
vaccine.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't
but
know that.
I don't think that happens anymore. I think you just drop something in somebody's.
But hear this real quick. Although there is no vaccine or established treatment for Ebola, its transmission can be stopped. In Liberia, the Firestone Rubber Company used its money to open its own hospital and treat local residents in its company town. Patients were isolated and health workers were properly protected. The protocol is effective and results were predictable. Contagion was stopped and fatalities.
Contagion, maybe?
Contagion.
Contagion
was stopped and fatalities were minimal. In a just and equitable world, a corporation which didn't want hampered operation of 6 workers will not be the only example of an EVD success story. The rest of Liberia isn't as lucky as Firestone employees. Before the outbreak, there were only 50 physicians in the nations of 4 million people.
That's a shame.
Such a paucity
That's hard
of
to believe,
resources
though.
make any communicable disease a catastrophe.
I can see that.
Man.
But to have 50 doctors.
And 4 million people? That's crazy.
That's awful.
Man.
You know why? I think that problems in other parts of the world, they're simple problems that become very complex. And the problems in this part of the world, first world problems, are not necessarily the same. So people who need water, I mean, there are all kinds of repercussions from needing water. And then you have people here who, are getting shot or, dropping out of school. I guess, I mean, in the scope of things, if you can help, by building a well or, making sure water is clean, you're helping thousands of people, in one swoop with something that doesn't cost as much money. Maybe the ills that we have here, a lot of them are social ills. And those ills that people have in developing countries are, as a result of being a developing country and having been raped from your resources.
But you know something? I was just thinking about this. You know, we really and truly live in two beautiful communities. Whereas that, you really haven't heard the type of things that's happened in other communities as far as police, pulling over, people of color and brutalizing them and shooting them. We haven't had that type of problems in South Orange and Mayport. And this community is 56% white and 35% black according to the census, 2010 census data. And we really haven't had that type of problem. But why is that? Is that because the police had the right type of training? Is it?
Yes, but there are other things that happen here. I mean, again, it's about...
Yeah, but we're talking about the worst case scenario, though, where someone is shot and killed.
Yeah, but things happen here. I mean, certainly not those kinds of things, but look at where we live at. I mean, you don't hear that often in any town in Essex County. And I think it has to do a lot with the amount of political power. Just like that article we were reading a couple of weeks ago, black town, white city halls. Mm-hmm. Even though we talk about how black people don't participate that much in the events or in the political realm in the community, there still is a presence. And again, and look at the community that you're in, that you have to buy your way into this place. So they're going to be a different set of problems.
But somehow, to me, I think
But it's not like kids don't have issues with police.
Oh, yeah. But you know what? I wanted to quickly ask you this. Why do the black kids from Columbia High School always walk in the street?
I think black people just like walking in the street. I mean, what do you mean, why do they walk in the middle of the street?
Yeah. Why is that? Because I've done it.
You've walked in the street?
No, this is what I'm going to tell you. When I say I've done it, what I do is that when I see the kids walking on the streets, I pull over nicely and I ask them a question. I say, "Oh, good evening. How are you guys doing? Can I ask you guys a question? Why do you guys walk in the streets as opposed to the sidewalk?" They say, "Well, the sidewalk is too narrow."
That would be the answer I would give.
But that's a poor excuse.
No, it's not.
Yes, you know why? You know why it's a poor excuse? You got almost 100 pounds of steel coming behind your back, and you want to walk in the street, and you can't see it. I could see if you walking, you facing traffic, but you walk with your back towards traffic. You don't know what can happen.
If an individual is walking, or two people, they probably walk on the sidewalk. But if it's a big group or a group of guys, 6 guys, they would probably be in the street.
And that's acceptable?
I'm not saying it's acceptable or unacceptable. I'm just saying I don't know. It's just about space.
It's unacceptable. To me, it's unacceptable. And every time because what I used to do when I had to...
Well, if I see something... and that's another question and topic we should get into, but we've only got a minute or two. But, do you call out a kid when you see them doing something?
Exactly.
Do you get out the street?
Exactly.
Now, some adults won't do that because many adults, I don't know about in this community, black and white, are afraid of kids. Now, if I see a white person who tells a bunch of black kids to get out of the street, I appreciate it. That tells me they're not afraid. To me, some people are like, oh, that's racist. No, it's not. They're not afraid to say, get out of the street, get out of the street. Because we all live here together. When my kids were of age and walking home and I knew, they're friends, and I would look, you guys okay? We all have to watch out for each other.
I agree with you. However, when you come to the western section, where it's some diversity, but it's predominantly white, plain talk bad.
What are you talking about? This part of Maplewood?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see white kids walking in the streets.
No, there's a lot of things you don't see white kids doing. I mean, we don't see what people are doing. Do you understand?
Like when school is over and the black kids go in one direction and the white kids go in another direction, I see the white kids on the sidewalk.
Yeah,
and the sidewalk is just as narrow as the sidewalk that the black kids are walking
Now,
on.
I mean, but see, I don't watch white kids like that, but I don't know if they're walking 7